Hello, welcome along to another football show here at Betfred, where we know quite a few answers, don't we, this week? We know that Manchester City are officially the champions. We know who's going to be relegated from the Premier League, and we know it's FA Cup final weekend as well. We've got lots to talk about, and we're going to do it in the company of these two guys. Iain Dowie, are you well, Iain?
I'm very well, thank you, yeah.
And Frank Stapleton.
Very well, thanks, Jason.
Yeah, good. We've got a lot to talk about, a lot to get through, but we do know quite a few answers, as I mentioned before. We'll talk about all of that, Iain, but Champions League final in the horizon now. Good news has come through today. Been sensible.
Yeah.
Not going to Turkey for the final. Fans will be allowed. And Porto will be the venue. What do you make of that?
Yeah, which is an amazing stadium. I mean, anyway, I've spent a bit of time in Porto, which is an amazing city to visit. So, but I just think it's a sensible compromise. I mean, I think we tried and against all sorts of bureaucracy to get to Wembley, but in the end, you can travel there, fans come back without quarantine, that's great. It'd be fantastic to see, it'd be a great spectacle, and it'd be one that I'm fascinated about. And I just have a sneaky feeling that Kyle Walker might be in the team against Chelsea because of the pace, which really hurt Man City last time out.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you make of it? It's good news. I mean, having a crowd there makes a big difference, Frank, first of all.
Yeah, I think so. And it's unrealistic for it to come here and doing what they wanted them to do. So, the government would have been in trouble if they'd allow that to happen. They say, what about all the other people you didn't let in? Mm-hmm. So it's just, at the end of it, they couldn't do it. It was just going to make infections more probable. So I just think the right thing to do. And everybody can go to Portugal and come back and not worry about anything, that they don't have to isolate for 10 days.
Yeah, some testing involved in that. 6,000 fans apiece will be there for the Champions League final between Chelsea and Manchester City. And talking of that, of course, it's FA Cup final weekend with Chelsea. We've got other priorities as well, Iain. They are the favourites to win against Leicester City, but I think we're in for a terrific FA Cup.
Yeah, well, in lots of ways, it's a bit of it was a total change than the last couple of games in terms for Tuchel, isn't it? Sides sitting back and then it'll be the opposite. I think Leicester will play them on the counter-attack. I think they're very good at what they do. I think they've got good defenders. I think they're, defensively they're very well set up. Brendan Rodgers has done an amazing job, probably a point or so away from getting top four. But that result last night, I don't think Brendan Rodgers would be particularly happy about, because Thomas Tuchel's reaction to it would have told a lot of people that there's going to be huge changes ahead of the game. I think he was surprised before the game that he'd made 7 changes, but I think it's going to be a fascinating game. One that I think, if Tuchel handles the counter-attack, so, you think about the likes of Rudiger and raging forward as he does, and maybe just a little bit of a control on him. If they can do that, I think they're in a very strong position to win it, because I think they've got slightly better players. But I think Brendan Rodgers has had an amazing season. I think defensively he's got them well set up. Amazing win at Man United, although as me and Frank were talking, didn't really think it was a great performance from Leicester, funny enough. But, they've got a game, and that means they're that far away, a flick of a finger away from getting in Europe again, which is a really good achievement given the sort of power that the top 4 generally have, and Leicester have broke into it this year.
Yeah, well, we'll get Frank's views on the FA Cup, but we're talking about the FA Cup and the importance it means to Thomas Tuchel, and he certainly wants this trophy.
In the end, we were not on the pitch with the same energy. It was not easy to come up with a big intensity in passing, because they defended 5-4-1 very, very deep all around the box. But we were not sharp enough, and not with the same energy, not with the same hunger, not with the same attitude. We all lacked concentration today. We lacked focus. That is very unusual. Maybe I gave also some signals into the team with changes that Saturday is on my mind, and even if it's only 5% or 1%, this is not how we approach things, and you get punished because you cannot be naive in this race for top 4. So we suffer now from another defeat. It's hard to swallow, hard to accept, but there's no other way.
Yeah, maybe says a lot, doesn't it, about Thomas Tuchel. He realises the history behind the FA Cup, but also realises the importance, Frank Stapleton, because he changed the team around, and he said he maybe made a mistake, but he's prioritising this final.
Yeah, and also you just got to think that you don't see it happening, but Chelsea falling out of the top 4. That's still got to be, there's 3 competitions that obviously the getting into the Champions League is the one. They're in the Champions League final, they're in the FA Cup. So it's very hard to try and prioritise. I think what some of the teams have found, we saw it the night before with Man United, is that the next level of players that they bring in aren't quite up to what... And that's and I think after the game, saw his interview speaking, and he was very, very disappointed because they never got to the other levels, the levels that the other team were getting, and it was difficult. It was difficult for him to kind of, without criticising the players, he was just saying we never got to a level, we never really got going. It's up to them to break it down. We know how defensive Arsenal were, but really at the end of it, they got nowhere near that little bit of sharpness. And I think the answer to that probably sometimes is that with the players sometimes they have got an eye on the final. I remember when I played in one of my finals, I can't remember, but we were playing in the week before the final. And you're always aware that, so you come off the accelerator a little bit because like the ball goes between you and the defender and you think he can have it.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be
even though psychologically you're telling yourself it won't affect me, I'm playing my game, playing for my place. There is something there, isn't there?
Oh yes, subconsciously it's there.
Yeah.
Without doubt. So I think that's probably why he was disappointed last night.
And he's right about the intensity. There's no doubt. I mean, you think about the intensity against Real Madrid, about how they just blew Real Madrid away, nowhere near the same intensity. And do you know what's fascinating is you think about Leicester, Chelsea. They've got the league thing as well. They've got to play them in the league again.
Yeah.
I mean, if Chelsea win the cup and Chelsea win the league game, possibly Leicester. They've got all sorts. They've got Spurs last game of the season.
Yeah.
And it's quite incredible how it's going to pan out. I mean, Brendan Rodgers certainly won't be resting on his laurels, and I think for him, where does the real priority lie? I think it's impossible to choose because he knows that he wants to get in the top 4, but he can't. This is just a wonderful opportunity for what a season it will be if he was to win the FA Cup. Given
well, I'll tell you what,
position.
Iain, you say that. Let's hear what he has to say about it because he wants to create this legacy at Leicester City.
Our focus has been a lot of the last few weeks on the games that we've had to play, but as soon as the Manchester United game was over, it's a really, really special game to look forward to. As you said, we've all grown up with it, and in particular, British coaches, we've watched it all through our lives, the build up to all these games. So to be able to lead Leicester City out in the first time in over 50 odd years in a final. It'll be a real privilege for me, and I'm so excited, looking forward to it. And these weeks, you've always got to stay calm. We've always tried to ensure the preparation for every game is huge, but of course, this is a game where you can create an incredible legacy, and you write your own story in these games, and that's hopefully what we can do.
Well, Chelsea have been there before, haven't they, Frank? Not all the same players, obviously.
No.
You've played in an FA Cup final. Can the occasion get the better of you?
Yes, without a doubt. It's not. I think he's just said there to focus completely on the final this week is important for them. It's very hard to be watching all the bits. It isn't the build up to the Cup final is not what it used to be.
Yeah.
Therefore, you've got no sidelines. We used to do all sorts of PR stuff the week of the final, and it can sidetrack you, and you've got to be so careful. So
but does it maybe take your mind off the final a little bit, some of this thing, or not? Or is it all focused on that?
No, because that's the
on the game itself.
Yeah, because these players, it's the first experience for them, for most of them anyway, to go and play in this cup final, and the whole week now. I mean, he's delighted that they got a result because he knew that the players would still be thinking about the game at the weekend. They got through it and got the 3 points against Man United. Now they're thinking, get them fully focused on this, and if they do, that gives them a real chance.
Yeah, have they got a real chance, Iain?
Oh yeah, they've definitely got a real chance. I mean, they've got great. Have you seen the quality of the goals against Man United? It's an unbelievable header.
Well, from the young left back was
but also
as well,
Thomas's goal is staggering technical ability to let it just try and not try and hit it, just cushion it into the top corner. It's a staggering finish.
He couldn't do that again, surely.
But listen, my view is, imagine if they hadn't won that. It'd been all sorts. For me, it's a massive result. So this gives them a huge amount of confidence. I think Chelsea will be a tough nut to crack. I think he's aware of what they have, and he knows that probably he'll think that Rudiger can handle Vardy's pace. I think that was something he'll think about. But Chelsea have so many threats. Mount was dealt with yesterday. Arsenal very good. I thought they dealt with him very well. If you deal with Mount, I think he's becoming a special talent, creatively wise.
Yeah.
But have they got a real chance? Yes, they have. I mean, I don't see this as particularly one-sided. I don't see 3 or 4-0 to anyone in this game. I think Leicester are really in. And I like their defenders. I don't know whether Johnny Evans is going to be there or thereabouts. But if not, Wesley Fofana, I think will go on and be one of the best centre-halves this Premier League's ever seen. Sionchu's an amazing ability. And talk about pace, he has it in abundance. Both of them have it in abundance. So they're well set up. I think it's a really tight game. Yeah, I've got a little suspicion that Chelsea might have a little bit too much. But, in my let's tell you, probably who I want to win is Brendan Rodgers, because he's from Northern Ireland. Why wouldn't we? So,
why not? And they've always got goals in them. They could dominate possession. Chelsea, and you've got Iheanacho. I think he scored 15 in 16, and Vardy, well, only needs a sniff of a chance, and it can be all about goals in cup finals. It usually is.
Well, yeah, it isn't. It isn't all about form. It isn't. You go into it playing really well, and on the day you can get a little bit of nervousness, especially players who've not played in it before. So it's important that the focus is there. I think with them being defeated last night, I'm not saying it's always a good thing to lose. But when you lose a game, sometimes
there'll be a reaction.
Well, there will, especially from this manager, who makes it. It seems to me that he doesn't miss out on anything. Every single part of every jigsaw is put together, and he tells the players exactly what he expects. And I think that's good management. And the fact that they lost, and he did make the comment after the game that they weren't as sharp as they would be. I think that will, he'll. And of course, he'll probably as well, if he doesn't get the performance in the cup final, he could have one or two thinking about the positions for the Champions League.
Yeah. Well,
so it's the cards are in on his lap. It's up to him how he uses them.
Let's put you on the spot then. Go on, Iain, you can fire away first. Who's going to win it?
I think just Chelsea.
Yeah.
I think 2-1 or something.
Both teams to score. Chelsea. Frank, are you of the same feeling?
Yeah, I think Chelsea have got they've got the edge. You talk about Vardy, but the Tuchel will find a way to stop that. It may be something like the fullback tearing on, and and if he leaves them, they know what to do. The defenders know what to do. But I think Chelsea are so solid. When you think about the goal they gave away against Arsenal, it was their own doing. There was nothing else in the game. You couldn't criticise the defence or anybody thereafter. It was just one of those situations that happened. And I just think they will play better, because he'll make sure they do. If they don't, they might not be playing in the Champions League. And that's a big, big incentive.
Yeah, there you go. An extra incentive maybe for those players. But both agreeing that it's going to be a Chelsea win in the FA Cup final this weekend. And we'll go back to all the Premier League. There's still teams playing for places where they're going to finish up in the Premier League. We know the relegation, we know the champions, and we know the Champions League places is going to go to the wire. So we'll go back to that, but let's talk about Rangers, guys, because they are one game away from becoming the Invincibles and Centurions as well. Iain Dowie, it's been quite a season, hasn't it? What an incredible job Steven Gerrard has done.
I also think what would he give to have got for that cup semi? I mean, incredible. Anyway, so I just think he has done. I think he's recruited fantastically well. I think the way he goes about it, I think the way he structures his team, they look very comfortable in possession. It's a very attack-minded side. They have the ability to defend. They defend incredibly well.
Well, they've conceded 13 goals
which is
all
quite
season,
incredible.
which is an astonishing
And yet they're
statistic.
quite. You think about the fullbacks, Brom on. So you know what I mean. Does it say structure about the Scottish League a little bit? But I think you think about the quality of the players. Ryan Kent's. It's been outstanding. Morelos is goal machine when you get him on blob. But I think he's. Some of the players he's had at the back there have been outstanding. So I think Goldson's done well. He's built a really good squad, and he's built a squad that's now that's challenging Celtic and beating them comfortably. And what they'll need is a reaction now from Celtic, and of course they've stopped the 10 in a row, which is the fable what it is. So it's an amazing achievement. Steven deserves a huge amount of credit, and so do the board for they're sticking with him. But he shows what he's very capable of, and it doesn't surprise many of us who played against and watched him play that he's done what he's done, because he's an outstanding individual as a player, and he's been turning out to be an outstanding manager thus far.
Yeah, Rangers hosting Aberdeen on Saturday and that 12:30 kick-off. I mean, Celtic, they were dominant for so many years and got, a liking for Celtic, obviously, Frank, but what do they need to do? Because that gap is huge all of a sudden.
I think there needs to be an investment, but depends on who's going to be the manager. Until they appoint somebody, and then they'll have to put funds up for the new manager. You're just talking about Steven Gerrard. I don't think he's had a huge amount of money to spend. But what he's done is motivation to keep those players on the edge all the time through.
Yeah, I agree.
He's got a strong personality. He knows what he wants. He's got good people that work with him. And I just think that, they've made the jump. Rangers now, they're so far ahead of Celtic. What are Celtic going to do? They can't do it from within. They're going to have to spend some money.
Yeah, and they need to get the right man in, and obviously the sooner that happens, the sooner they can start turning things around, surely, guys.
I agree. Listen, I think Frank's right. I think Stephen's done an incredible job. I mean, Celtic, they're two humongous, tremendous football clubs. Celtic will no doubt have a bounce back because they have the potential to be absolutely compete with anyone in world football, given they were in a league like the Premier League. If they were in there, they'd be up at the top of that. So they need the right recruit. And who's it going to be? There was talk of Eddie Howe and what it happens to be. I don't know what it is lately. So I think they need a decent presence so they can recruit players, and be interested to see what happens with Edouard, because everyone's talking about if he moves on.
That would take some replacing.
It would take some replacing, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But there's other positions that need sorting out.
Yeah,
for them to be so far behind.
Yeah.
This is where I just keep looking at Gerrard and what he's done. He's taken them. You had Celtic there, and Rangers were here. All of a sudden, he's jumped above them. I mean, Celtic have dropped a little bit.
Yeah.
To be fair, but what he's done in taking the club and they've come through the divisions as well. Got all that trouble they had with the ownership of the club. That's all in the past, and they've got great support. And the motivation there for Steven Gerrard to stay is that they give him more money to be stronger and get further away from Celtic. So this is what we've got. This is what we're going to look forward to for next season. That Celtic see how they react to it, and if they don't, well then the next manager is going to be in trouble.
I don't think he's going to rest Steven. If he's there, there's a lot of talk about Steven being.
He's going to create a legacy, isn't he?
No, well, they were talking about. Listen, I think Steve Bruce has done a great job. Steven being linked with all sorts of jobs, but if he's there, he will not sit on his laurels. He'll want better quality people in. He's gone and got Kemar Roof coming in, did a great job for not big investment, clever piece of acquisition. If you've seen him at certain clubs, Leeds and the like, always been a goal scorer. He's come in and done a good job. He's not going to sit still. He's going to want better. And don't forget, he want to compete against the likes of in the Europa League or Champions League. You know what I mean? That level, how good a job he did against Benfica to a certain extent, gets beat by Slavia Prague. So bizarrely. So I think it's going to be a fascinating battle next year, as it always is. But you're not going to pick. No one's going to be sitting here picking anyone but Celtic or Rangers to win. As we stand now, you think it's Rangers, but who knows? It can change around.
Yeah, they've got to have a massive change around, haven't they? Scott Brown leaving, of course, Celtic as well. Rangers win the Scottish Premiership next year. They go straight through to the Champions League, which is another incentive as well for them to kick on next season. Terrific job. Well done to Rangers. Congratulations. Let's keep our fingers crossed, if you're a Blue, that they will get that 100 points over the weekend. Let's go back to the Premier League, guys, because we know Manchester City are now the champions. We've kind of known that for a while, but it was confirmed, wasn't it, Iain, this week? Where did they go from here, City? Obviously, they've got the Champions League final take on Newcastle this weekend. Is that what players are playing for? Playing for places?
Yeah, I think that's his drive and determination. I think will sort that out. And
that's what he'd say to them.
That is the Champions League. Of course, that's the biggest carrot you've got. But I just think he needs a great deal of credit. Everyone's talked about the many millions he spent, but this year, Diaz has been outstabbed at 60 million in terms of this market. How much is he worth? I mean,
he's worth double that now.
He'd be right behind. He'd be right behind Virgil van Dijk now, wouldn't he? I mean, not quite as I don't think he's that level yet, but certainly
another season. He's 23, Iain.
Yeah, he's got
which
incredible.
Is ridiculous,
it's ridiculous. And what I loved about him, look at Kyle Walker this year.
Yeah,
Kyle Walker's
like
been outstanding this year.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's no doubt that he gets a tune out of players. He really does. And Phil Foden, what can't you say about him?
Anything else, can we?
In Mason Mount and Phil Foden, England might have two of the. You talk about some of the great midfield players in world football, they're two that could become two of the great players in world football. I mean, listen, I don't want to put too much pressure on, but they definitely are. They have, and both are humble lads, seem to me, have a lot about them. Both got great acceleration, both get a goal, and both can deal with the hurly-burly of a bit of physicality. So, where do I think he goes from here? I think he'll sign big. I mean, they're going to let Aguero go, but who's that going to be? I mean, imagine the rest of the Premier League if he signed Erling Haaland.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That would be that, wouldn't it? Do they need a number 9? Do they need a replacement? Obviously, you had 2 centre forwards. Frank's always going to say they need a number 9, surely. But do they? Man City, the way they play?
Well, playing without one hasn't done them any harm.
No.
But it's probably...
Well, most of my teams I played in played without centre forward. So.
All your teammates said that, Iain, yeah.
I just think it's a difficult one. Depends on which way he wants to go with his formation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be, you don't have to play centre forward. Like you can play 3 centre backs, or you play 5 at the back. People say, well, are they really playing with full backs or are they wing backs? So there's always that question. But you still, I think still, even in the system, you do need people who are decent with their back to goal, which is the most difficult way to play.
You need that
game.
option, surely.
Yeah, I think the option is there. I mean, he's got Jesus, but he would probably prefer to be playing more in the wing position because he, to me, doesn't look like a natural centre forward or even a number 10. But I just think that with him, with Guardiola, he's going to look at something different. Like Cancelo this year, they played him on a fullback position, and he was pushing in the midfield, and all of a sudden teams were thinking, what's going on here? There's an extra man in midfield, where's the fullback? And then teams had to adjust, and I think we saw that in the Manchester derby when United played a winger against him, and he was taken off in the game because he couldn't. So teams have to adjust. So Guardiola's doing this all the time. You know, when you think about the whole season with Man City, you look at the numbers out of 10 for all the players in every match.
Yeah.
And there's none of them would ever get less than 6. That is unbelievable because people have off days. All right, early on in the season, they weren't getting the right results. But then, the likes of Foden and the competition and the 2 centre-backs. Well, he's got Laporte, who's a world-class centre-back, and he can't get in the team.
Yeah.
Walker and the left-back have both been in and out of the team because the manager, he thinks, well, look, maybe he was a little bit cool today. Put somebody else in ahead of them. All of a sudden, his level goes up for the next match. So I just think, he's got all the options and he's got them thinking, and I think he drives them hard. I don't think people think, they just go out there and do it. But you look at in some of those, especially the European games, because there's the biggest question mark. It's always asking about, when can you do the same as you do in the Premier League? Can you close down and can everybody get? They're doing it. They're doing it, and their fitness levels are phenomenal.
Their second half performance in France. Was that France second leg or first leg? First leg. Yeah. Their performance in the second leg in Paris was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Because I'm not being funny. You're talking about the very, very, very best in world football you're playing against. I mean the very, very best.
Yeah.
In Mbappe and
Neymar on the ball.
Yeah. Scary good. Neymar, the best I've ever seen run the ball. Frank Biasy, but he's just one of them brilliant talents, and the other lad's scarily talented
Neymar,
too, and unbelievable quick, and Mbappe. So. The performances are hugely, but you see, what Frank touched on, such a good point. I think he knows now. He knows if there's a threat, and there will be against Chelsea, he won't play Cancelo there. He'll play Walker. He's pragmatic now. I think he's learned to. He just can't blow teams away like he had with that Barcelona side anymore because there's too many good teams in the world. You have to be pragmatic, and I think Tuchel is a very pragmatic manager, by the way. It's going to be interesting to see. They'll have possession. They'll have possession, loads of possession, Man City, but they won't be foolish with it. They won't be gun-ho.
Yeah, well, they play Newcastle this weekend. Let's walk through some of the other issues and wrap everything up. Burnley are safe. They take on Leeds this weekend.
What a job.
Pleased for Sean Dyche, and they're going to have money to spend, Iain. Yeah.
Both managers,
jobs. Listen, talk about no money to spend. Sean Dyche is right at the top of the league.
He spent £1 million, hasn't he?
900 grand, wasn't it, on the lad from Brighton? Yeah. Quite incredible, and I think there was a little bit of fallout with the board. They've now got a takeover. If he gets so investment, they've got to allow him to have investment. And if he gets investment...
it's more outstanding because last year there was 4 or 5 players he had to let go that he didn't want. He wanted them to stay at the club to give him more of a springboard for this season. And without them, he's still gone and done it.
Yeah, he has.
Done a terrific job, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Not happening for your former club, Fulham. I know you're a little bit gutted that they've gone down, but they take on another of your former clubs, Southampton this weekend.
Listen, you think of Ings and Adams and Mitrovic. Fulham can't score the conundrum of getting goals in the Premier League. There's no doubt they're easy on the eye. I think Scott's been...
Should they stick with him, Scott Parker?
Yes, I do believe they should stick with him, absolutely, because, listen, he hasn't had the sort of funds he's had before. I think it's, they've got enough to bounce back. But I fancy Southampton to nick that one.
Yeah, could see that. And Brighton, West Ham still in the hunt for the Champions League places. What a season for David Moyes, Frank.
Yeah, and I think that's... I watched them before the game the other night. They did an interview and they asked him, well, what about what you've done this year? He said, well, I'm not supposed to be there, really, so, and this is a bonus for them. Yeah. So that's how he's keeping the pressure off the players. They need to pick up and get the result because it's important. If you lose this game, it basically says that they're not going to make it. But if they do, it keeps the pressure on. As I said, we've got Leicester and Chelsea playing on Tuesday again. So that's league. So one of those teams either loses or they both drop 2 points. So that's a big thing. So the incentive is still there for West Ham. And Brighton are safe. I mean, I always felt that they would be, but they play a decent level of football. And I just think that, there's probably be more relaxation about their play, but doesn't mean they won't want to win.
Yeah, and what side they had to watch as well. I love watching West Ham, and he's got every player playing to the best of their ability.
He's got players to play in the way he wants them to play, and they're eyes out. They're working incredibly hard. Souček.
It's been a revelation. Tufel at right back's been probably the best right back behind Walker this season.
I think, and he's doing it without Antonio. Antonio back fit, getting goals.
Yeah, Declan Rice.
Rice is going to be outstanding. Has been outstanding and continues to be so. And he's got a defensive tune out of people. So been very impressed. And Ben Rama getting better as the game goes on. I mean, listen, I think everyone's got a finger in the air. Really, it's for Leicester and Chelsea to mess up. But having said that, because they play each other, it does add a little conundrum. I think Liverpool in a decent spot, I've got to say. If they beat Man United, they're in a... you look at it, it's a bit... I mean, I'd love to sit here and say, man, West Ham are going to do it. And do I think we can win our 3 games? Yeah, I think we can, but it'd be lovely.
It would be lovely. Well, it shows how things can turn around, because David Moyes has turned things around. Spurs have got Wolves this weekend. Should be a Spurs win, but... they've got a long way to go, and they've got to get a manager in as well, Frank. They've got to get the right man, and probably going to have to do it without Harry Kane next season. Yeah,
I just think with Spurs, with Mourinho, you never knew what the team was, which way they were going to play, how they were going to set up. I think Wolves are mid-table, so they've got no worries. So they're just more relaxed in the game. And I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that Spurs will win this, because Wolves, big physical team. They've underperformed this year. They have. I mean, all right, they lost Jimenez, and that's a huge loss.
Huge loss.
I mean, you look hopefully, he might be back last game of the season. They reckon, or be involved.
Yeah. It would be It's love it to see, but madness for me.
Yeah. I think they just want to maybe just get his head in there, quite literally, after the issues he's had to think he can play.
I've got to say, I don't think there's any benefit in doing that.
Okay.
No, I just think, listen.
No, they're safe. They're safe.
There's no point in bringing him into a game where it would just be madness. Listen, if it's a 2-minute cameo at the end of it, I get that just for the But I'm talking about if you put him in 20 minutes to go and you're losing the game, it's madness. Yeah. Because you've got to let him recover.
Yeah.
Yeah. West Brom also down as well. Big Sam suffered first relegation. It was the writing's been on the wall a while, hasn't it? But he has got a tune out of the players, hasn't he? Which means he should stay for you, West Brom.
I think it'd be mad to let him go.
No-brainer?
Well, listen, my view is Sam will do. I think we'll get them promoted.
Yeah,
I'd be
you agree,
if he
Frank?
Well, I think the option is there, isn't it? Yeah. So, to get them back up, if he doesn't do it, well, then they'll say, right, bye-bye.
They were top
gives
goal
them a
scorers
chance.
in March, weren't they, in the Premier League?
Yeah.
And
Well, he was the manager of the month, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's supposed to be this defensive manager. So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I think there's more to...
Was that during the international break?
Yeah. No, what I'm saying, do you know what I've got to say is he's got many different tune out in clubs. I mean, his Bolton side at the end were incredibly attack-minded.
Yeah.
So I think he gets tired with that brush because he's always had sides he's struggling with.
Yeah.
You know, and if you've got a struggling side, you make him difficult to beat.
Of course you do.
So, you know, do I think they should keep him? Yes, I do.
Yeah, well, West Brom against Liverpool this weekend, and it would be obviously massive if Liverpool didn't make the top four. They're right in there. They have to win that game. But imagine Liverpool not in the Champions League, guys. How big a blow is
Well,
that?
it's a big save, especially for the club, considering the season they've had. There's still a possibility. The big question mark, if they win at United, I think they'll do it.
Yeah.
I do
Liverpool
too.
top four, yeah.
I've not even got Spurs and Arsenal in it. I don't think that they're even in the equation.
They're out for you.
So, I've got Everton more than them because they've got that other game. But my view is, I would think, you know, 6 and above. And I've got to say, I think if anyone's going to do it, it will be. I hate to say it because I want West Ham to, but I think Liverpool will. I've just got a feeling. Just got a feeling they might pull something out of it. And you know, no one can catch Man United for seconds to where they are. Do you risk getting it, get injuries? No is the answer.
This is a big game, though.
Oh, it's a
big
huge game. But I'm saying is...
But no, the players don't like to lose
Frank's
it.
just said, it's in your mind. They're in their mind, they've got the Europa League final. I don't care what you say. If it's a 50-50 between Fernandes and whoever it happens to be, Jordan Henderson, say, if he's back, there's one needs it more than the other. So I agree. Liverpool Man United's a massive game. And it will be a much stronger side than he played the other night. But I think is in Man United's favour is I think Liverpool are still defensively very, very suspect.
Yeah.
And so as a result, I think there's goals in this game. There's goals in this game, no doubt. So it could go anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we've still got plenty to play for, but let's just finish on the FA Cup because that was a big talking point. Yeah. Still both going with Chelsea, but Leicester to put in a performance, Frank. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can't. Chelsea, look, you know, what they've achieved since the new managers come in is unbelievable in a short period of time. And the motivation seems to be there. The managers seem to be able to motivate them. Seems like there's a lot of respect. It's not kind of, to me, it doesn't look like anybody doesn't think the manager, because he's, after the game, he's out on the pitch, he's congratulating them or, you know, saying, unlucky that time. But I just think that Chelsea, the incentive is there. There's still 1 or 2 places in that team that could go to the
I agree.
Champions
I think Frank's right. I think there's a great deal of respect for Tuchel, but I also think the players know he's going to make any decision that suits the team. You know, some people, you know, some players.
He's thrown a couple under the bus already, hasn't he?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Listen, he said he throws many under the bus. Even the other day, even though he was blamed himself, he was
Tammy
also
Abraham's been axed. Hudson-Odoi's been talked about.
I mean, listen, and Hudson-Odoi didn't do himself any favours when he came on. Yet, you know, so my view is it's going to be a fascinating game, and I think Brendan will have who think he can get them, and I think he can. I think Iheanacho, the form he's in, is he? You know, he's a natural finisher, by the way.
Of course he is.
Yeah, so
Chelsea, if they're not at the best, have to be at the best.
They have to be at the best, absolutely.
Yeah,
and I think it's 2-1 Chelsea.
Yeah, very narrow margins. There you go. So it's going to be a blue ribbon on the trophy. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Purple.
We can all agree
your
on that.
tie.
Yeah, maybe. Not this bright. Not this bright. Listen, great to have you guys. We're getting to the business end of the show. Loving your views as ever.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There you go. That is it as far as the football show is concerned. Hope you enjoy the FA Cup weekend. We're going to do it all again next week. Good luck with all your bets.